So this video is a continuation of the last video. So I might not go as in depth with some of the things. So if you don't understand what I'm talking about, you might have to go back and watch the previous video. I know it's long, but I explain a lot of the reason I'm talking about some of these numbers. So I've talked about since February 13th, the first day of Lupercalia, was when the NBA All-Star Weekend was, and they foreshadowed so many events and whatnot in these three movies. And, this is Michael Jordan, MJ, and these are Michael J. Fox, MJ. MJ is 23. I'm starting to wonder if there's a whole bunch of stuff to do with just Michael J. Fox and all of his movies. Who knows? I didn't take the time to really look through all of them yet. But Teen Wolf, I did a decode on it, but I went back and rewatched it just like the Back to the Future. And this is Back to the Future 2 because of 2015. But I went back and watched Teen Wolf again. And there's a couple things that actually I missed. And it's because I didn't know about it at the time. But now that I know a lot more, or I understand it a little bit better, there's a few things that they put in there that I just didn't get at the time. So basically the reason why it was Teen Wolf 2 was because on the NBA All-Star game, this guy's teammate, Andrew Wiggins, won the rookie sophomore game. They don't call it that anymore, but he won that. He won the MVP of that game, and he was a Teen Wolf. This guy is a Timberwolf as well, a Minnesota Timberwolf. And he's a teenager too, or was a teenager. So he is a Teen Wolf, and he did this Michael Jordan Space Jam dunk in the slam dunk contest on Valentines Day to win the slam dunk contest. So the Teen Wolves and then the Space Jam theme. And I never caught this before, but look at the colors. So they have this picture from UCLA. And remember I said Kevin Love and Russell Westbrook and this guy all played at UCLA. Kevin Love was a Monstar. He's number 0. But look at the colors. Blue and yellow, just like the Golden State Warriors who won the NBA Finals this year. And I talked about the Golden State Warriors. They won it on 6/16, and Valentine's Day to 6/16 is 122 days. They play in the San Francisco Bay Area, Oakland to be specific. San Francisco is 122, Pope Francis 122. Then the day from the gay marriage being legal to October 26th, which is the first day of Back to the Future 2, that's where the day it starts, is 122. So at the very end of this movie, Michael J. Fox, he doesn't be the wolf anymore. If you've seen the movie, obviously, he has to be himself to win the basketball game. But I mean, look at their colors. They are blue and yellow, and they're playing the red team. Like the Cleveland Cavaliers are red too. And I showed Steve Urkel, an episode of Steve Urkel, where Steve was Stefan, like Stephen Curry. And then Steve was Infinity was his number, and he came back and he won the game or whatever. And they were also these colors as well. So they were definitely foreshadowing the NBA Finals from this movie. At the time, I thought it was something to do with Michigan Wolverines because they're the same colors. And then Wolverine and Lupercalia still might be. I just haven't really looked into it much more. Also, I did talk about this, but funny, Michael J. Fox is number 42, like Fox 42. Also, another thing I didn't know was this is the very end of the movie, and this ball goes in, and then he wins 52-51. So interesting. We've talked about 52 and the Queen, and just all kinds of things with 5-2 and how it goes together, and then they won 52-51. And this is what I really put together a lot more here. So throughout this movie, they have Nebraska Cornhusker stuff. There's a thing here in the basketball office. There's another thing here. There's a part in his house where they have a Nebraska Cornhusker calendar, but this movie has nothing to do with Nebraska whatsoever. It's not even filmed in Nebraska. I researched like a ton about it. You can't find, they don't know why it's in there. They just put Nebraska Cornhusker stuff, but it's because of Abraham Lincoln. And here's another picture here with Nebraska in his house or whatever. There's a Nebraska Cornhusker thing here. I mean, there's palm trees in this movie. There's no way this movie was supposed to be set in like a Nebraska town or anything. But anyway, let's look at Abraham Lincoln and his connection with Barack Obama. So Abe Lincoln was born in 1809. 1809 was 216 years ago. Obama was born on August 4th, 84, which is the 216th day of the year. And then 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. So there's a lot of stuff that connects Obama and Lincoln. So they're the only two presidents from Illinois. Another thing I want to point out on Lincoln's death, Lincoln died exactly 88 years, 9 months, and 11 days after July 4th, 1776. And he was shot the night before at 10:12 p.m. And so he died the next day at 7:22 a.m. That's 9 hours and 11 minutes after he got shot, too. Talk about coding the 9/11 in there. And then if you add up all the presidents, the 4 presidents who have been assassinated, and then you put in Barack Obama in there as well, they all add up to 9/11. So then moving on here, so I've talked about how it's all about Lupercalia and Valentines. So February 13th is the first day of Lupercalia. And to Abe Lincoln's death on April 15th, it's 61 days apart. Obama was born in 1961. And also wanted to point out, Michael J. Fox was born in 1961. In 1961, if you were born, you would be turning 54. 54 is love, all about Valentines, Lupercalia. Anyway, this whole thing is about the Civil War. And think about it. Why in the world would they make this movie? Like, about a basketball player who turns into a wolf? I mean, it's just ridiculous. It's just the stupidest movie of all time. Like, the story is dumb. And then they put Lincoln, Nebraska stuff in the background. But anyway, I'll go back to this in a second. It's so about the Civil War. So the American Civil War, it started on 4/12 of 1861. That is the same day that Freddie Gray, I don't know if it's spelled E-Y or A, but whatever. Same day Freddie Gray was arrested. The first death of the American Civil War was in Baltimore on 4/19/1861. The same day that Freddie Gray died. The Confederates in the American Civil War, they wore different shades of gray uniforms because they didn't have the money to put the dye in the uniforms. They wore different shades of gray. And you just had the movie 50 Shades of Grey that came out on Abraham Lincoln's 216th birthday. And then you also had Grey's Anatomy that killed off Dr. McDreamy. I mean, it's so ridiculous. They're trying to start a new civil war. I don't know if they're going to kill Obama or what. But I mean, just look in the news that you got the Confederate flag thing, and then they legalized gay marriage. I mean, what is the world coming to? What is going on? How do people not see this? I just don't get it. I don't get how people don't recognize what is going on here. 61 plus 61 is 122. I mean, we've been talking about this number specifically with a lot of things. I even was scrolling through my videos, and in the headline I noticed that Michael Brown, the Ferguson case, and what's the deal with all the colors? You got Michael Brown, Freddie Gray, orange is the new black, Ebola green. You know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. So whatever. Michael Brown, he died at 12:02 p.m. You take out the 0, that's 122. He died on 8/9, August 9th. Talked about that with the Queen, and it's the 221st day. So, I mean, it's definitely been coded back for a while. And this shooting had 22 and 222 all over it. I can't even remember it all. I know, even the police station, the address was 222 something. It was just ridiculous. And this scene right here is whatever you want to call it, the bombshell. Are you kidding me? So when he turns into the wolf, he gets all this confidence, and he joins the school play. And the school play is about a reenactment of the Civil War. I don't know what play it is, but I mean, think about it. They made this movie only to code things. And just think about what is happening in the world right now. I mean, all they're doing in the media is trying to divide the country. I mean, it's scary. I don't want to say that, but it is. They're doing a great job of it. There's people arguing on Facebook, Twitter, everything. The whole world is just, it's getting divided up like crazy. It's, I don't even know what to say, man. I mean, sorry for ranting. It's just that it's like, who knows, you know? I mean, I wish people could just see this instead of just brush it off. I mean, see what is going on, see the real meaning of why they make these movies and why they do what they do in the media. Just so many people I know, just they don't even take the time to even look at this. Okay, so anyway, a few more 61s here. So iPad Goat, Obama winks at 106, which could be 10-6, like which is converted to the Julian calendar would be 923, and 923 has been foreshadowed in tons of things. That's why 923 is so popular or whatever. Well, there's more to it, but whatever. It's just been being foreshadowed and people have been talking about it. But also 10-6 could be 610. And 610 is the 161st day of the year. The mirrors, 16 and 61. Abraham Lincoln was the 16th president. And then 28 presidents later is Obama. And I've talked about how, for whatever reason, all of this always ties back to 1988. And that's the speed of the time travel, or the DeLorean. But this year is a 27 year, because 27 years ago was 1988, and 1927 was 88 years ago. But 2016, and look at it, 16, right? The mirror of 61. 28 years will be it'll be a 28 years, so it'll be 28 years to 1988, and 1928 will be 88 years ago. Also, go and watch Zachary K. Hubbard's videos. Some of the information that I'm going to talk about, and some of it that I've talked about, he organizes it so well, and he does an awesome job. So he had this video about the gyrocopter crash on April 15th, so the anniversary of Lincoln's death. And it was about a 61-year-old guy, and there's a whole bunch of connections. Not going to go too much more, just go look at it, otherwise it'd be too long. But also the word 61 equals 131. And 131, if you double it or whatever, 131, it's 262. And in the last video I talked about this number pretty much specifically. This was like a good portion of the whole video. And it all ties into the 2 6s. And he talks about Freddie Gray equals 66. And Freddie Gray was, from the day Freddie Gray was arrested to the South Carolina shooting, is 66 days apart. And South Carolina even adds up to 66. Also, in this video, he talks about Freddie Gray and all that. Ton more stuff than what I'm going to say, but so Civil War adds up to 43. Charleston adds up to 43. One of the main guys that got murdered or whatever was this guy. His name adds up to 43. The kid the Dylan Stormroof, he was born on 4-3. Also, the word massacre is 43. The word church, to go with the 61s, church is 61. Also, he talks about, in one of the videos I remember talking about the word God. The word God adds up to 61 as well in Jewish gematria. And also 26 in simple gematria, which the last video I talked about how 26 connects to the queen. But something that I wanted to add to these 43s, so I'm positive this is the reason why. So 43, Abraham Lincoln was born on February 12th, which is the 43rd day of the year. Also forgot to mention, Charleston is where the Civil War began, so interesting. And I'm also not finished with the 61 references. So Abe Lincoln's death was on April 15th, and September 23rd, like I said, been foreshadowed a lot. The Pope is coming around this time. There's a lot of stuff. He's going to go to the White House and whatnot. And Obama, like I said, winks. He winks an iPad Goat at 10-6, and 10-6 is the same as 923. So let's see here. But anyway, April 15th to September 23rd, 161 days. Once again, 1661, like the mirror. So then I just thought of the year 1661. So it'd be the mirror, 16 and 61. And It was 354 years ago. Doesn't seem that interesting until you think 354 is actually 177 plus 177. And in the last video that I associated this video with, I talked about 626. And 626 is the 177th day with 188 left. And then 7/7 is its mirror date, July 7th. It's the 188th day with 177 left. So pretty interesting. And also, if you add up 61 and 16, it's 77. So just like 7/7. And 61 minus 16 is 45. 45 is evil. Valentines is the 45th day of the year. Also, I don't think I mentioned that Abe Lincoln actually became president on March 4th, 1861. And also March 4th, 3-4, the mirror of the 43, right? So he was born on the 43rd day, became president on 3-4. I mean, I'm barely even looking at this, and I just keep thinking of other things. So 161 years ago was 1854. Like I said, every 100 years, these numbers match up together. You know, like I said, this year is a 27 year to 88. Well, in 100 years, it will be the same way. But anyway, Abe Lincoln was 45 years old in the year 54, 1854. Interesting, the mirrors. He was 45 and 54. And he became president when he was 52 years old in 1861. And check out the Emancipation Proclamation. It didn't actually go into effect until January 1st of 1863, but he made it and wrote it all up or whatever on September 22nd, 1862. And since I had no idea where to throw this in here, just throw it in here right now. So Obama became president on 1/20 of 2009. And 1/20 of 2009 to the last day of Lupercalia this year is 6 years, 26 days. 6/26. And then if you go from his president start date and you add 6 years, 2 months, 6 days, 626, it takes you to 3/26, 2015. That's the same day that Biff won the horse race in 1958, and it's the 85th day of the year. So the mirrors, 85th day of the year, he won the horse race in 1958. And then you had American Pharaoh and all that I talked in the last video. So it just gets crazy and crazy. So 26, right? Talked about 26 and the Queen in the last video a ton, whatever. This guy supposedly killed Abe Lincoln. He was 26 years old, but he shot Abe Lincoln. Abe Lincoln died on April 15th, but he was actually shot on April 14th at nighttime. So this guy shot Abe Lincoln 26 days before his 27th birthday, and Abe Lincoln died 62 days after his birthday. So Abe Lincoln was born on February 12th, right? 2/12 to 4/15 is 62 days. And then he got shot by a 26-year-old. I mean, and then it was 26 days before his 27th birthday. Give me a break. Another thing I found super interesting, and I'm going to end the video here in 1 second, because I have so much more to talk about from this subject that it'll only make sense just to make a whole nother video. So the gun that John Wilkes Booth used is right here. It was called the Philadelphia Derringer. In Philadelphia, super significant, the Pope is coming to Philadelphia when he comes to America in September. And I actually should have talked about this in the last video. The Pope is coming to Philadelphia, I seen supposedly on 9/27, September 27th. But I talked about Back to the Future, and this date it's the beginning date of Back to the Future 2. It's actually the 279th day as well. And then it's, if you put it in there as a date, 27/9, it's the same as 9/27. So it does make sense, because I just discovered this when I was going to talk about this gun here. So it says the term Derringer is a genericized misspelling of the last name of Henry Derringer. So I clicked on Henry Derringer, and look when he was born. October 26th. And I'm just going to say this. I'll probably end up re-talking about it in the next video with Philadelphia and whatnot. But so the gun was called the Derringer with 2 R's because they misspelled this guy's name with 1 R. But if you add it up, Derringer with 1 R, like it's supposed to be spelled, it's only 80. But if you add another R in there, it adds up to 98, which 98, not only is it the mirror of 89 with the Queen, it's significant to Philadelphia and the train crash and just tons of things, even the NBA Finals. But anyway, so Henry Derringer, he died on the last day of Lupercalia too, on the Julian calendar. So, but age 81. And the gun was called Philadelphia Derringer, and if you do it the way it was supposed to be spelled, it adds up to 181. Like I said, this guy died at age 81. And just the word Philadelphia adds to 101, which is the 26 prime. It's also 606 in English gematria. And then I wanted to point out this, and then I'm going to end this video here. In the next video, I'll talk about Philadelphia and stuff. But this guy is, let's see. If you write the guy's name out, Henry Derringer, and you spell it the wrong way like the gun, his name adds up to 168. Just like Queen Elizabeth II. Just like Taylor Swift in her 1989 album. Also, West Philadelphia adds up to 168. Oh, and I also forgot to add this part. So, 4/15, so his Lincoln's death to Obama's birthday is 111 days apart, like this year at least. So then the Queen's birthday is 4/21, which is the 111th day. 9/11, there are 111 days left. Obama's birthday to November 1st, like 11-1, looks like 111, is 89 days. So talked about that number a ton with the Queen. 8/9, August 9th to 111 is 84 days, kind of like 8/4, kind of like Amir's. Also, Abe Lincoln's birthday to 11/1 is that magical 262. But yeah, like I said, you might have to go back and watch previous videos and whatnot. Hopefully, I feel like I organized it a lot better than I usually do. There's just so much information. It all connects, and it's very hard for me to explain how it all connects because it's so ridiculous. Like, but yeah, leave it at that. Hopefully, I'll get the other video made today. If not, it might be a few days before I can do it. So, anyway, just have a great day.